Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emmanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt the shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emmanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Emmanuel Rose, and today I'm joined by three-time best-selling author and founder and Boss Up Coaching and Academy for Investments. Strategist and phase more than 30 years launching startups, global brands, and Fortune 1000 firms, and helping teams generate billions in revenue. Frameworks for leadership, growth, and transformation. He served at Indiana University on Fastcade's executive board. Scott, I'm glad to have you on this show, and thanks so much for spending some time with me.
Thanks, Manuel. Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, what is going on in the world? What are you doing?
We're actually having a lot of good things are happening. Expansion, impact. We've got about 125 professionals that are part of our academy. We work with independent business, leadership, performance executive coaches who leverage our solution to help them generate additional impact and income for them and their clients by helping them leverage a tailored business operating system. So that is all going very well, especially in this era of AI. So we love the practical and intelligent use of AI, but we still need these things called humans to be doing the human touch things. So that's a big part of our world.
Well, where are the places that support the people that are working your system?
Yeah, we primarily, we actually love the term agentic. We think agentic is, and in fact, if you look at the definition outside of AI, in summary, it's basically behavior. How do you behave? How are you able to adapt and adopt and leverage and modify and push, pull, and prod kind of a vibe. So we leverage AI in our technology. So we have a SaaS part of our solution. Certainly when it comes to working with our clients in terms of using AI on a generative and just more of its practical, provide additional insights and validation, help you get there quicker, faster, stronger, right? As long as there's a human on the front end and the back end, use AI as an ally. So we do that a lot these days, and we're a big fan. Again, if it's the practical, intelligent use of AI, what we're not a fan of is if we basically use that to do the work for us without our humanness, if you will. That's where we try to coach a better approach. So it's this and both good systems, good practical use of AI, and ideally, if we do that right, we actually can spend more time on us humans and making sure us humans are doing what we're supposed to do.
Well, I agree with you on that. And is there? I know you've written a lot of books, but is there software that goes along with the programs that you develop?
Yeah, so we've got our primary Boss Up is basically, this is what we call the blueprint, the mechanics, the engineering, the fusion of tailored business operating systems, along with the agentic intelligent use of AI and this thing called coaching. And then we've also got a book called Moments that is basically to help the humans. Think of this more like the right brain, left brain. This is more around the EQ. And then we've got guidebooks and materials and an academy that's a learning management system. And then in addition to that, we've got a partnership with a software company by the name of 90. And 90 is a cloud-based BOS platform that we tuck in and layer in. So we've got this wonderful blend of human curriculum type, methodical pen and paper learning, building, leveraging, growing. We've got AI, depending on the company's current use of it, right? We're always very mindful that we don't go too fast or go too slow. And so really we kind of like to think of ourselves as a modern, flexible, inclusive, effective, and affordable way to build, run, and scale using this tailored approach of, again, good old fashioned roll up your shirt sleeves type of human support, consultative, solution centric, the Boss Up Solution Academy, our partners at 90, and again, ideally, the company's also using AI throughout the business, but certainly like your podcast, right? We see a lot of resonance around marketing and just using it to help position and frame and leverage and, do things quicker, faster, better. So that's the model.
I love it. And so you're at Boss Up, you're coaching executives. So what's the kind of the concrete coaching framework that you're working with executives and training?
Yeah, we've got 4 programs. One's called Boss 101, which is really where we work with a lot of organizations, institutions, not-for-profits, for-profits. It's really we act like a social enterprise. So Boss 101's typically free, and it's where we just help people learn and understand the benefits of a tailored business operating system. I often get asked this, what's a BOS? And I say, well, it's a system to help operate your business. Oh, okay. Well, why didn't you say that? Well, because that spells SOB and nobody wants to work with an SOB. So Boss 101's basically our informational way that we get people, organizations. We do a lot of events and peer groups and cohorts. Then we have what we call our starter program, which is an intensive, all the kids in the pool, if you will, where we teach what we call the 9 core competencies to build, run, and scale. We show people what we call the essential concepts, tools, and disciplines. But our 2 flagship programs are called Builder and Scaler. And Builder is effectively a hands-on, coach-led way to learn and implement and tailor the primary framework. We do that over about 90 days. And then Scaler is when we stick with you and we continue to help you learn and develop, and we provide business, executive performance, leadership coaching. And that typically can run 12, 18, 24 months. A lot of our coaches, though, have been former Big 5 consultants. They've also had their own companies. So most of our coaches provide additional complementary, services and support. A lot of them could be around M&A, for example, or more leadership specific type learning and development, right? And so we're just part of the portfolio more often than not. And then they'll tuck in some additional coaching or consulting work that they may do in addition to Boss Up.
Makes sense. Yeah. So who are the kind of what's the profile like for the business coaches that you work the best with?
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking. Mostly people that have been in let's call it the trenches of, call it what you will, consulting, coaching, advisory work. Most of our coaches are independent, one-person professional services organizations. Many have worked for maybe a larger CPA firm, an Ernst & Young, a McKinsey, a KPMG, if you will, and maybe got a vertical specialization in finance, but over the time they became more of a generalist around just business operations and leadership and strategy. This day and age, we've got a few people joining us who moved on from a traditional, job and became a solopreneur, so to speak, and they've decided to hang their own shingle, and now they're going in the world as a fractional 1099, support for small startups, mid-market companies. You can see this online. We just created over the last year a joint venture with Indiana University Kelley School of Business. So we've actually got over a dozen of their faculty that are coaches with us. We did a program with them, the Chamber, Cummins Engine, where we're helping organizations that historically haven't been able to afford or attend the type of sessions we're doing. So we're investing in them, if you will, to help them, again, learn and build and grow. So we've got a good matrix, if you will, portfolio of coaches. Our whole motto is basically, let's be independent together. And so we're not a franchise. We don't make them sign, 80-page contracts. It's very affordable. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, move on. And so we're flexible, we're modern, we're accessible. And so for me, it's really about who they want to be versus what they do. And we're a good fit with companies that want to be independent together, if that makes sense, right? And do their own thing. And then we support them with resources, material, learning. I've got a small team, but they do a great job of just making sure that our coaches feel enabled. We have a beautiful learning management system where we take them through about 28 hours of quote unquote training to get them what we call certified. And then from there, they do what they think is best for themselves and their clients.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. It is this being independent together is important, I think, because there's so many coaches out there, and so many of them they might be SMEs, or they might have just gotten trained on YouTube in the last 48 hours, right? And it's nice to have to be able to validate kind of the structure and the capabilities by backing it up with an organization like yours.
Yeah, and they get to tell the truth because, I don't like the term expert per se, but they don't have to be an expert. They have to be, again, consultative, solution-centric. And, we work very hard on our materials. Our materials, we almost joke that, think of yourself as a substitute teacher. You don't need to be the expert per se, but if you know how to have presence and you listen and you can take people through a curriculum, programmatic way to learn and tailor, you follow me? So again, with AI, think about AI today. If AI brings you all this instant gratification and it can do all this work that historically has been very difficult and timely and costly, right? So what do we need us humans for? We need us humans to contextualize, to help with the understanding, to hold the proverbial hands, if you will, to get from here to there. So frankly, I've had Boss Up for, in fact, over 15 years. It's a spin up from my own consultancy called Straticos. But I think especially with AI now today, I often joke as a dog guy, right? I often think my dog when it's at the park is looking around, looking for me. And where's my human, right? And I think that's how companies, where's my human in this whole thing? And that's what we're trying to do is equip the right humans with complementary materials, resources, and support that they can tuck in AI. They can leverage whatever that company's already doing and get them to the next level without a lot of fuss and muss and herky-jerky type changes.
Yeah, I love that. We also need that was like the 95% no ROI. I tried to counsel one project that is the time suck of the week, and worked it line the SOP and then automate and then get ROI out of something. Recommending that people get or organizations get when they're deploying AI tools.
Yeah, I think to your point, and I've worked with big companies that, we can get all very granular, activity-based costing, cost-benefit analysis, return on working capital, return on capital employed, right? Our average clients, small, mid-size startups. We've got some Fortune 1000 that we help, but I know it's going to sound real cliche, Emmanuel, and I know you get it, right? Keep it simple. And one of our favorite quotes, we use a lot of quotes, is from Isidore Sharp, the founder of Four Seasons, who said, systemize the predictable to humanize the exceptional. So when we talk about KPIs, a couple of fundamental truths. Number one, we prefer leading versus lagging, right? Because those are the actions, the activities that generate the results. All too often, people get enamored with results, but results don't result themselves, right? You've got to execute. So number one, our KPIs, primarily 80% of the KPIs are leading versus lagging. Number two, we also want to keep it simple. And again, thanks to AI, I've walked in a lot of organizations that have had dozens and dozens of KPIs. And we've all heard of the Pareto principle, right? The 20-80 rule. So let's wean those down and say, okay, what are 20% of the KPIs that generate 80% of the results? Let's focus on those, right? And again, if you've got good systems, you're going to keep track of the minutia, but let's keep it more at that macro level. And then last but not least, I think this is where also people fail, is that they have KPIs without what we call OKRs, the objectives and key results. Doerr wrote a book called Measure What Matters, right? So I think that connective tissue between KPIs, the actions and the activities that generate the OKRs is key. Less is more, keep it simple. And then we believe in what are called the 9 core competencies. So those also have to be aligned with good SOPs. You said that earlier, standard operating procedures. Are those coordinated with the right functions? We have the right people in the right seats doing the right work. So what we try to do is I'm a family of engineers. And so, I don't want to call it that because, when was the last time you had something that engineered and you said, that tastes good? So we like things that taste good, to feel good, to look good. We care about that, right? But we're trying to help these small companies with more of what I call the engineering, the mechanics to build, run, scale a great company. And again, less is more. And so when we talk about KPIs and these other more mechanically engineered, we want to make sure they also touch to the connective tissue, right? Their ICP, their ideal client profile, their values, and everything's got to coordinate and ideally be cohesive and aligned. And without that, they're just KPIs, is my point.
Right. Just one more dashboard that nobody's looking at.
And by the way, back to AI, right? I mean, I have my own private AI called Vector. I write about it in my books, but Vector is basically an amalgamation. I've been in tech for 40 years. So, I used to code back in the days, but that's right. I mean, I could pull a Vector and say, hey, give me this dashboard, give me this framework, give me these, you follow me? That's the easy stuff.
Yeah.
That's almost like table stakes these days. And so what we need is the humans and our ability to synthesize, to communicate, to overcome conflict, to again, deal with the more, I would say historically, people would call these the soft skills or the intangibles. I think that these are the hard skills and the tangibles now because of AI.
Sure.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, change management, I think, is ironically still the biggest thing to overcome with all these shiny objects that we have. And whatever you want to do with tech now, pretty much you can do. It's a gorgeous time to be alive. But getting the humans, to your point, getting the humans to be able to adapt, adopt, and execute correctly based on OKRs and KPIs and what the business needs is still the challenge.
Well, and what we think is so exciting, Emmanuel, is if, let's just say hypothetically, we believe in most of the reports, and I believe it's true. It's more than anecdotal now. Let's just say good deployment, utilization of practical intelligent AI is generating hypothetically 25% more productivity. Let's just keep that, right?
Yeah.
I think it should go higher. Certainly could go lower. So if that's the case, Emmanuel, what are we doing with these things called humans? And I would say, again, if I'm freeing myself up to have 25% more time, what am I going to do with my time?
It's a great question.
Watch the telly, have a cup of tea, goof off. Well, if you're in a company that's pretty cool, I think you should be able to spend maybe 5% on yourself, right? Go for a walk. Live in the world, live and breathe and keep yourself healthy of mind and body and soul and spirit. On the other hand, I also think we should redeploy and reinvest that human capital into the human capital things of the business, right? Working together, breaking bread, being in the market, being consultative, solution-centric with our clients, with our stakeholders, with our partners, right? So I believe there are 3 core to any business today. Number 1, humanize. Number 2, systemize. And number 3, optimize. And frankly, to a lot of people, I'm going to probably rub the wrong way, but I think you go in that order, right? I think you got to say, hey, keep the humans front and center, but it's not an either or, it's an and both.
Yeah.
And certainly us humans have to be better at systemization, automation, whatever you want to call it. But we almost have a quid pro quo. And if we're going to free up 25% in average, right, what percent's going back into the business? What percent's going back into me?
Yep.
And what percent's going back into whatever you think is best for you and the person to do in this world. You with me?
Well, I love it. Yeah. And that is a big part of the message I have too, is that don't just save yourself time to do more of the same work, but you gotta use it to be creative and feed the human fire and spend it with your friends and family and get outside. And,
I think I'm seeing some burnout right now, man. In fact,
yeah.
I can tell you the truth too. I'm an active AI guy. And I get caught in this, this closed loop, man. And I go in the lab, and next thing you know, I get all bundled up, and I'm not the best version of myself. I get so focused on that. And again, back to good systems. Sometimes a good system is just a Post-it note that says, stand up, go for a walk. You with me? Don't ask Claude. Hey, Claude, what should I do with these next 15 minutes?
Yeah, right. No, it's true. It is for some of us. It creates the same dopamine that the video games and gambling does. Right? Like I get to solve this. I get to solve this. I get to solve this. I keep solving and solving and solving. And for guys like you and I, yeah, that is its own addiction. And especially for me, it's like those crux moves in a software problem where you're like, I'm just about done, and then just this one more little thing I got to do, and then it's 4 hours, right?
Well, I was down last year. We went down to Key West, and Hemingway's house is down there, right? If you know anything about Hemingway, and we were at his, I think it's called the birdhouse wherever we wrote. And, it was a job. It was a job. And he started at 9 and 5. And God knows we know his story. He liked to drink. He fished. But he actually says, which I think this is really cool. This is maybe a hack for everybody. To your point, I get in this. I'm so close, right? It's like I'm a big IU football guy. You probably know, given what happened, but I've been for a long time. But, we're on the 5-yard line, right? We're in the red zone. Let's get it across. Let's not take a timeout. It's like the golf tournament that went over to today, right? I just saw that Scheffler lost or whatever. But no, man, you got to say, in fact, counterintuitively to a lot of people, that's the best place to stop. I'm so close, so I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Now, like any good or bad habit, it takes time to realize that that's the better way to go, even though it doesn't feel like that at first. And as a guy who's written 5 books and trying to write my 6th right now, I can tell you it's not easy. It's physician heal thyself. It's much harder said than done. But I've had many, I'm so close at 10. Next thing you know, I look up, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That ain't cool, man. Don't need to do that.
All right. Well, I love it. I think we're aligned on a lot of things, Scott. And congratulations on Boss Up Moments. I love the field guide. It's beautifully illustrated. So nice work on that. And then, of course, the content is top shelf, but it is really engaging. And it's kind of a cool flip book for just a section and take 15 minutes to go dig through a challenge and come up with something and then put it into action. So nice work on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, if people want to get in touch with you or have a conversation, what's the best way to do that, Scott?
Yeah, I'm pretty like yourself, active on this, the interwebs. So 2 are my most prominent is LinkedIn and Instagram. Both are Scott Abbott ABC, which, as you know, with the Moments book in your hand, that's the architect, builder, custodian, the first 3 moments of the book. And a real big part of my life these days is my new leadership learning and development initiative, leadwithscott.com. Working with a lot of large and small organizations to basically, again, because of AI, I think the mandate for great learning and development's getting to a whole nother level. I've done a lot of L&D over the last couple of decades, but I think it's needed now more than ever for a whole host of reasons that we don't have time to get into. So that's a pretty big focus of mine these days, in addition to Boss Up. And Boss Up is always looking for, good folks to come join us and be a part of our community. So you can learn more at bos-up.coach.
All right, good stuff. And all that information will be in the show notes. And I'm thankful for your time, spending some time with you today, and
likewise,
and for the work that you're doing to keep keep the lone wolves connected in a group, which is never an easy project.
No, but it's fun, and keeps us out of trouble, so to speak. So thank you, and I appreciate you and the show and everything you do.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye. So there you have it. And all the techno shiny solve the world's problems with AI. Remember, humanize is the first step, and I agree with Scott on that. So I hope you enjoyed and got some value from the episode today. I did. I enjoyed the conversation with Scott Abbott and leadwithscott.com. I also hope that you take some time to figure out how to capture or recapture the 4 to 6 hours a week that competent executives are finding they're getting back with correct deployment of AI, and that with that time, you continue to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and your family, and that you get outside into nature, away from the screens. It's Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll